Hey guys, how are you today? Quick rant before we dive into today's chaos. As some of you might have noticed, YouTube's algorithm has decided I'm not special anymore. Shocking, I know. So now if you don't like, comment, or do a little backflip in the algorithm's honor, this video might just vanish into the void, never to be seen again. Seriously though, even a hi or "this is wild" in the comments helps way more than you think. It tells YouTube, hey, people actually like this channel. Maybe don't hide it from everyone. That can really help push my videos out to a wider audience, not just to my subscribers. So if you enjoy these stories and want to support the channel, that's the best way to do it. Now grab a drink, get comfy, and enjoy the drama. You won't want to miss this one. I, 35 female, and my sister, 39 female, have never been very close. You know those siblings that are so unalike you wonder how they could ever be related? That's us. We don't have any of the same interests. There is, quite literally, not a single book, song, movie, or TV show that we have in common. Even the foods we like are completely different. We've tried to be closer before, multiple times actually, but it never worked out. We had a great conversation a few years ago about how, even though we don't have anything in common, and never will, there's still a lot of love there. We don't need to fake it or try out things we know will make us miserable to love each other. For the past few years, we've only seen each other on holidays and birthdays. Outside of that, we don't really speak to each other outside of the occasional like or comment on a social media post. We're both comfortable doing our own things and not trying to force a relationship. The conversations we do have are usually checking in to see how each other is doing, if there's anything we need to vent about or need help with, and talking about our parents. Around the time of the COVID-19 lockdowns, she started dating a guy. We'll call him Darren. He was her first big love in high school. They broke up because the first time he ever got drunk, he made out with someone he knew my sister had a lot of drama with. They've both dated other people since then, but we all knew they missed each other. I don't know the full details of their rekindling, but they managed to work through their issues enough to start dating again. Darren and I aren't super close or anything. He's what I like to call a friend-in-law, or a good friend of one of my closest friends. I see him maybe 3 to 4 times a year when our friend groups overlap for game or movie nights. Before they started their relationship back up, he'd ask about her every time he saw me. I had really hoped they could work it out, because both of them wanted it to, but wouldn't say it to the other person. My sister knew about the game nights before they started dating again, and always asked if he said anything about her. It was always the same conversation. He asked how you were doing. He asked if you had forgiven him. He got a little drunk and said you were the love of his life and he messed up, stuff like that. She'd say the same things about him when she drank a little. I tried telling them both to reach out over the years. I guess one of them eventually did. Now, the allegations of cheating. About 4 months ago, Darren and I were helping a friend unpack after some of our other friends helped move all her stuff to her new house. It was just him and I there, as that friend went to grab some takeout for us and to pick up a few things she needed from the store. We weren't in the same rooms. We didn't even really talk to each other outside of asking where we thought something should go. My sister called him to ask what he was doing. He told her he was unpacking stuff and that I was there too. She said she'd be on her way to help us out because she didn't realize we'd both be there. She called me shortly after and said she was coming over, and I said, cool, we could use the help, before we both said bye and hung up. When she got there, she asked why neither of us told her we were both here. I said I assumed he had told her since we don't really talk. She asked him, and he said, I didn't know it was going to be just us. I told you I came here to help unpack. She asked, why are you dressed like that? Like what? I had on basketball shorts and a tank top. Like you just got done screwing. I had no idea what she meant. She started asking if we had slept together. I laughed ridiculously loud at that and thought she was joking. She slapped me and started crying because she knew he'd do that to her again. She told me I was mocking her emotions and was a horrible sister. The reason I was laughing is because I'm a lesbian. I came out as a lesbian when I was 14. There has never been a man on this earth I have found attractive or wanted to do anything like that with. She knows this. She was the first person I came out to. She helped me come out to our parents. She's met my fiancé. I told them I was leaving, called the friend, and told her what happened. She started laughing at the accusations and asked if I was going to press charges on my sister. I told her no. I've slapped her a few times over the years, when we were teenagers, so really, it didn't matter. It wasn't that hard of a slap either. It was more annoying that dramatic. I figured they had some problems going on that I didn't know about, and that I was unfortunately in the crosshairs when she napped. I assumed she'd come to her senses, apologize, and tell me what was really going on. But no, that's not what happened. She made a Facebook post the next day about how some lesbians will lie about their orientation to manipulate people. Someone asked if she was talking about me. She said nothing but liked their posts. I was so confused by that. I've never lied about my orientation. Even when I was a kid, I was open about the little crushes I had on girls. When I came out, everyone was like, "Duh, we've known since you were a kid, and did you think we didn't know?" I'm also a butch. I look like if Leah Delaria and Katie Lang had a baby. Most people see me and know that I'm a lesbian. She then made another post about how I can't be a lesbian because my fiancé is bi. Which makes no sense whatsoever. My fiancé's orientation doesn't determine mine. She said something like, if I were a true lesbian, I wouldn't even want to be with someone who has had giggity time with a man. It was bizarre. A few people asked me what was going on. I didn't tell them anything other than, I don't know, she's accusing me of something I didn't do, and I don't know why. Just leave it alone. She'll get over whatever this is. They messaged back more questions, but I didn't respond. I didn't want there to be any further issues. It's been almost 4 months now, and she's still accusing me of sleeping with him. Our parents told her that I didn't. We all know I'm a lesbian, and she said no, she's lying about that as an excuse. She's always liked him. Always like him? No, absolutely no. I liked him enough in a friendly way to not be miserable at his presence, but that's about it. There has never been a crush or any sort of romantic or giggity feelings toward him, because, you know, I'm a big lesbian. Every few days since then, she's texted me something about how I ruined her life, betrayed her, etc., etc. At first, I tried talking to her rationally about it, but she said that made me sound more guilty. Eventually, I stopped responding or caring. I'd let her text whatever she wanted, and not even open it. Last week, she called around 2 a.m., and I answered because I thought it was an emergency. She told me she hasn't been able to sleep in months because she's so distraught over me ruining her life and relationship. I was tired, cranky, and annoyed, and told her I just got done insert overly detailed explanation of what I did during giggity time with my fiancé, and hung up. She called a few more times after that, so I blocked her number. I also blocked Darren's number and social medias in case she tried to reach me on there. I didn't know if they were still together or not. Their relationship statuses have been hidden even before this mess, but didn't want to risk it if they still were. I kept her social medias unblocked in case of an emergency, or if she wanted to apologize. The next day, I woke up to over 100 messages on social media and decided to block her. Our parents called and asked what happened. I told them she called me at 2 a.m., left over 100 messages, and has been being extremely annoying about this for months now. They said, "You're sisters, just apologize." I asked them what should I apologize for. They said she wouldn't be this angry if it wasn't true. Again, they know that I'm a lesbian. They have known this for 21 years now. I don't understand how they're now thinking I had giggity time with him. Other people in our family have been reaching out. Some called me a homewrecker, a paid worker of the giggity variety, but most wanted to know what was happening and if I was secretly bi or if I was coming out as straight. She called and texted me from someone else's phone. I assume it was a friend, but maybe she got a cheap prepaid phone or something? Not sure. I told her that I was going no contact with her because of all of this. She started crying, said that, "You betrayed me? Now you're going to abandon me." I told her I didn't betray her because, you know, big lesbian. She kept insisting I was lying. I hung up, blocked the number, and made a post about how I would appreciate if everyone would please not let her call me from their devices or speak to her about me as I've officially going no contact. The post had comments ranging from "good, it's about time," to "you can't go no contact with your sister. That's your sister. Family is more important than this," to "you're the reason no one likes your LGBTQ+ community." My parents, and most of the rest of my family, are acting like I'm just so evil for not wanting to speak to her again. Some of my friends have even said that, while they know the cheating didn't happen, they thought me blocking her and going no contact was taking things too far. I feel like, no, I know that I'm not the a-hole, but really just need reassurance that I'm not from strangers on the internet, because really, who can you trust more than that, LOL? Edit. I need to clarify that they call each other husband and wife, even though they're not legally married. She's very into the whole new age thing. They did a spiritual commitment ceremony last year, where they pledged their love to one another. They switch between calling each other husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, partners, life partners, and soul flames. I still view it as them dating because they can't even decide on what they are at any given moment. Edit. I asked this in the comments, but decided to put it here too in case that gets lost. Serious question. If I decide to go through with it, how do I go about pressing charges? Do I show up to the police station with all of the texts and messages, or should I seek out a lawyer first? How do I even find a good lawyer for this type of situation? What would be a reasonable amount of upfront cost for the case? I've never had to report or lawyer up for anything before, and don't trust asking my family for answers. Not the a-hole. OP's sister isn't having a rational reaction. She's having a delusional one, and everyone enabling her is part of the problem. OP didn't sleep with her boyfriend, she didn't betray her, and she didn't mock her emotions. OP laughed because the accusation was absurd. And honestly, it was absurd. OP has been openly visibly lesbian longer than some people keep the same hairstyle. Her doubling down, posting bizarre things online, and inventing conspiracy-level explanations about OP's orientation is not normal behavior. Blocking her was the correct move. 4 months of harassment, false accusations, public smearing, a physical slap, and 2 a.m. meltdown calls would push anyone to their limit. OP's parents telling OP to just apologize when there's literally nothing to apologize for is classic dysfunctional family logic. They want peace, not truth. And now let's hear community's opinion. Well, she sure has that stuck in her head. Sometimes to avoid drama, you have to head things off. I think making a big social media post where she can see it, and so can the flying monkeys along the lines of, I do not know if my sister is having a mental health issue, or has a brain tumor, or what is going on. Here is the deal. She accused me of sleeping with her husband. I am a lesbian. I have never wanted to have sex with any man. I never wanted to sleep with Darren, and if I had wanted to, there were years when they weren't dating where I could have. I'm being asked to apologize for something I didn't do. Never did. I am not going to apologize to her for sleeping with her husband and ruining her life when I never did it, and B, it looks like she ruined her own. Now she's screaming at me for abandoning her after cutting her off for screaming at me and sending hundreds of deranged messages about me going giggity with her man. Except now I'm abandoning her. Please, someone closer to her. Get an MRI and some therapy, because I can't handle this anymore. And no, I will not apologize for cutting my sister off for being delusional and making me the bad guy. And the people calling me a homewrecker is insane. I would go as far as getting a restraining order for harassment. And tell your parents you're going to take her to court for defamation to prove a point. They need to understand how serious you are, and that all of these lies and harassment is not only ruining your relationships, but your peace and well-being. Tell your parents if they choose to discuss this or bring it up again, then you will go no contact with them as well. Tell them at this point they owe you an apology, and if they can't deliver, they are condoning her actions and that you don't need this in your life. Your sister has a lot of issues and needs therapy. I'd go no contact with your sister and anyone who thinks you should apologize. All of them. And since she wants to take to social media to lie about you, I'd make a public post stating why you are going no contact with her. The whole truth, how Darren cheated on her in high school, and how she's protecting her insecurities on you. Post the texts and messages. Show everyone how delusional she is. Tell everyone your parents want you to apologize for something you never did. Throw everyone under the bus. Update. A few days after the first post, I went to the police about this situation in the middle of my sister sending dozens of texts per hour. While there, they saw her send back-to-back messages with threats claiming she would pay people to beat me up and harm my pets. The report was filed, and I contacted a lawyer. Her husband, they're not legally married. They had a spiritual commitment ceremony. Had a mutual friend ask if I would meet up and talk to him. I told them to tell them no. My parents offered to record what he had to say if he would tell them because they've been incredibly stressed about this whole situation. He agreed to that. My parents came over the next day and played the entire conversation. Darren said that, about 7 months ago, they were having a conversation about their hall passes. If you don't know, it's a whole thing where people will pick a celebrity they'd want to have giggity time with, and the whole idea is that if you ever had a chance with that person, your partner would be okay with you and them doing the giggity. He said she asked who his hall pass would be if it wasn't a celebrity, like a friend or co-worker. He didn't have an answer, but she picked one of his close friends. She kept asking him for an answer, which he apparently didn't have one. He ended up picking me because then he knew he wouldn't have to do anything. My sister allegedly snapped and accused him of liking me. He said he didn't, and that he had picked the person who would be least likely to do anything with him because he was uncomfortable with the question. He flipped it back on her and asked why she answered his friend so quickly if she hadn't thought about it before. She accused him of gaslighting and being gay because only a gay man would find me attractive. If you need to know what I look like, think of a mixture of K.D. Lang and Leah Delaria. Short hair, bigger body, short hair, masculine dressing, etc. He said he wasn't attracted to me at all, and that's why he picked me. She didn't believe him and kept going on and on about how he was using her to get to me. Wild, considering there's nothing any man could do to get me LOL. She stopped talking about it the day after. He thought that she was over it, and that she was either joking but pretended to be serious, or that she realized she was an idiot and dropped it. Our parents confronted her about it, and she said that he was lying. She says that they were having the hall pass conversation, but he said me instead of a celebrity, which is apparently an answer she would have been okay with, but that he went too far with it, and that's what made her mad. Her claim is that after the party stopped talking to our parents about, he made comments about how it would be kind of hot to have S with a lesbian, be the first man inside of her, and turn her straight. She only mentioned his friend after he broke the hall pass rules of only picking celebrities. I didn't know who was being honest, but what she claims he said about me made me extremely uncomfortable for obvious reasons. I talked to the mutual friend I helped move, and she said she wasn't okay with Darren saying that, and said she'd talked to other friends about it too. Everyone pretty much agreed not to invite Darren to anything I was going to, and that they would distance themselves from them until they found out the truth. One of our mutual friends, a guy, texted him about it to try to get an answer. He said he wouldn't tell anyone about it if he was honest. It took a while, but he eventually admitted that he has a fantasy of breaking me, then training me to be a good woman. I won't go into details about it, but it involved the non-agreed-upon giggity and basically being traumatized into being a proper woman. At that point, I had already blocked my sister on everything and wasn't going to reach out to her directly, so I sent the screenshots to our parents. They were disgusted by it and sent them to my sister. She asked me to come to our parents' house ASAP. I was at work during all of this, but I went over there that night. She apologized to me and said that she thought we were doing stuff because she found pictures of me on his phone, and she knows that I hate getting my picture taken. I asked what pictures. It was pictures of me at parties, game nights, and one of me in a giggity position that was clearly AI, though she didn't seem to notice that part of it. I told her I never knew he was taking pictures of me, and that I was extremely freaked out by that. What the hell, dude? Darren has been completely cut off by everyone in our friend group. My sister went through his phone when he was sleeping and deleted everything of me on his phone and in the cloud. She's in the process of filing for a divorce in their spiritual religious community. It's a whole process I don't know much about because it all seems kind of culty and weird. They have to get religious leaders and a lawyer involved to agree to separate their souls. She keeps referring to it as a divorce, so that's what I'm referring to it as, because IDK, what else to call it, other than a breakup, but she swears it's more than a breakup because of how important the connecting of their souls was. Darren tried to tell people that my sister was lying about everything, but the pictures of all the proof that I need, that he's a creep. There were pictures that no one else could have taken because it was only a handful of us there that night, and everyone else was in the background. There were game nights where he was the only other person at both. I'm extremely grossed out by him and don't really know what to do now. I talked to the police about it, and their whole thing was that there's no proof he was only taking pictures of me, because there were some other ones he took at those parties, but most of them were of me. I think he took some other ones to make himself seem not as creepy. He even tried to tell my sister that he took them because he knew that I hated having my picture taken and thought she'd like to see me in them. Except he never showed her those pictures, so what sense does that even make? I shifted from no contact to very low contact with my sister because, really, I spent almost half a year dealing with her doing all of this to me, and a simple apology isn't going to magically make things okay. Even if something had happened, which it obviously didn't, her behaviors were still completely unacceptable. The fact that even though I'd do that, is insane, and I don't want to speak to someone who threatened to end the lives of my pets and say that she'd pay to have people beat me up. This whole situation has been insane, and I'm extremely grossed out and don't know what to do from here. I'm already in therapy and plan to talk to my therapist about it more, because all I want to do now is go to work and come home. I've been isolating myself from everyone because I'm so afraid of Darren showing up and being creepy. Knowing that someone you spent time with and were alone with wanted to hurt you in that way is a special kind of anxious hell.